Hi guys, today we'll take a look at how to share files between teams more effectively. So by the end of the video, you'll know how to add cloud storage and make it so that your teams are flowing well together. And then we'll also have a look at how to use Excel and PowerQuery to roll up information through more confidential teams. Make sure you hit subscribe and the bell icon to get notified every time we release a new video. We've got a new one on Teams coming out every Tuesday. If you need more help with training, make sure you hit the free download link in the description below to get access to our deck of slides to go along with our basic training tutorials on YouTube. And if you need more help unlocking all the benefits of Microsoft 365 and how to use Teams to help you do that, then either book a call if you're ready right now or watch the webinar back in the description below. So let's get in and have a look at sharing information across teams. Okay, so here we are in Teams, and I've set up an example that mirrors the example that we did in our live webinar. If you've not seen that, it might be worth watching that first, where we talk through the benefits of having a vision about how to set your teams up. So you've got a limited amount of teams that are quite big, managing it through channels and thinking about who can see which team and which channel. But for speed, we'll have marketing, which is saying which products and advertising campaigns we're going to run. Sales say based on that how much can we sell, and then based on how much sales can sell, suppliers say, well, have we got enough capacity and what do we need to do to make all of that stock. So we'll be people collaborating within marketing to get those campaigns done. There'll be people collaborating in sales to see how much we're going to sell, and there'll be people collaborating between these teams. There'll be some people that are in both the marketing and the sales team to be that bridge and that link between the two teams. So benefits of having it separated are that you might want to work on that activity and those campaigns within marketing without sales seeing it because they're not ready to be shared yet, and you don't want to spend all of that time managing the message and all that sort of stuff. So you want to work on stuff sort of private but collaborating within marketing. And then there might be some things that you then want to post into sales once it's finished. So you're managing the version that sales can see and still collaborating on stuff before it's ready in marketing. There might also be examples where like a calendar of activity that's going on across the year that you don't want to keep managing the versions. Actually, it's live document and you want it to be live between sales, supply and senior management. Anyone in the company pretty much. At least across these teams, you want to see the live version and you don't want to keep managing posting into different teams. That's the example we're going to cover today. So jump into supply and look at the files. We can add cloud storage is going to be your friend. So if you can see all of these options, it means your organization's not to turn them off. I would advise turning these off unless you've got a business reason why you've still got files in these other places. Basically, I think you should turn everything but SharePoint, try and force people to move their files into SharePoint because you get the benefits of all the stuff that Microsoft's doing with Project Cortex and search, and everything will be a lot easier if you're within the one ecosystem. But so hopefully you can just use SharePoint. We're going to click on SharePoint and it's going to show us some sites that we've used recently. And then if you don't know, then when you set a team up, it sets up a SharePoint site that is where all the documents are stored, and that's the sort of backing of the team. So that's why it uses sites and teams sort of interchangeably. So you can either pick a site that you've used recently or use a SharePoint link. So we haven't got a SharePoint link yet, so we're going to go back into marketing, go to files, and we're going to go and open in SharePoint. So that'll jump us out into our browser, and we're just going to go and grab this top URL and go back to supply, into files, add cloud storage, which is where we were before, SharePoint, and then use a SharePoint link, paste the link in there, and it's then found our marketing site, which is the SharePoint site that's made when we set up the marketing team, which is where the documents are stored. So if we then click that and click next, we're going to say we're going to pick the document library, and we're going to add that folder. So now anyone in supply can see the documents that are held in marketing, and then when you jump into that, you can see all of the channels in marketing. However, if you just did that step, the only people that be able to see these documents, they'll be able to see that folder's there, but when they click it, they'll get a big error saying you're not authorized to see the stuff in this team because you're not a member of that team, or you haven't got permissions to see that site, you might say. And that's because you're not in the marketing team. So if you just want to do that and not change the permissions, then the only people that can see the marketing files from the supply team are people that are already in the marketing team anyway. So there's no benefit in being able to add cloud storage to another team because you need to be in that team to see those files even when you're linking from the other team, if that makes sense. So the benefit of being able to do that, apart from if you had another SharePoint site completely and you had an old SharePoint site you were linking, that add cloud storage is your best friend. You can just add it in and it just appears in Teams. You can still then go and chat about any files that are in that add cloud storage location. They'll still appear in the posts section of Teams. So all the benefits of that. And then when you went through, and even if you do a paperclip icon and browse Teams and channels, you can then see it right there. So you can then link other people's SharePoint site files into your team. But like I say, you need to sort out the permissions, because unless you've got permissions to that site or that team, you won't be able to see that anyway, even when you've added cloud storage. So in the example where we want to open up the marketing calendar to every team, this is what we can do. So we can go back to the SharePoint view, and you can just do it in this document library, which I'll show you, but I wouldn't recommend it, and I'll go through why. So if we're in documents, we want to open up the whole of the document library to another team, then we can go to Site Contents, Documents, Settings, and go to Permissions for this document library. So it's saying this library inherits its permissions from its parent, which is the entire site. And so you can either click Manage Parent or then stop inheriting permissions. So if you click Manage Parent, it's going to be then access to anything within that site. So any news, any documents that anyone ever creates in marketing is then what we're going to open up. So you can then click Grant Permissions, and we can invite people like sales. So you start typing the team, it's going to say sales members. So any member of the sales team can then see anything in the marketing team. And if we want to open it to supply as well, we can then supply members, and then obviously senior management, be senior management members. And then we've opened up that anything in marketing then to anyone throughout the entire rest of the organization, say, if we just had those teams. So I wouldn't, so that's a really good thing to do. Then that's going to help us keep that shared calendar live with everybody, and then allow us when we add cloud storage to another team, we know that everyone's already got the permissions to go back and view. I wouldn't do that with the top level like we've just done. I would cancel out of that, come right back out to site contents, say. And so rather than granting permissions at the entire site level, or even that document library, which is the default one, which is where all the channels and everything in the team sits, it's quite dangerous because no one in marketing or someone new in marketing might not know that their stuff is then visible to everybody else across other teams even. They might think that it's just visible to people in the team, which is a big enough change anyway to get people to work like that. So it's good to then just really mark which place is secure within the team and which place isn't. So to do that, I would just add a new document library and call it wide access or something like that. Marketing files, maybe something like that, just so that it's really obvious which document library is that you're publishing to then everyone to see versus just within that marketing team. So we'll create that document library. We've ticked add it to the navigation, which just means it's now in this sort of side bit of the site. And then if we go back into the marketing team, that is not even visible within the marketing team, because when you're in the team, that's just showing you the default document library and that particular channel folder of that document library. So when we're looking in general, it's actually looking in documents and in that general folder. So that's the view that we're looking at in Teams. To get all the way back up to the other completely new document library that we've just made in the marketing site, which is the site that's associated with the marketing team, we need to go and add cloud storage. And we need to do that for every channel that we want to see that new document library in. So we pasted the same URL in as we had before, click marketing and next, and now we've got access to two completely separate document libraries. And one is really obvious that it's not the normal one. One, because it's going to have a little linky sort of icon next to it. And two, it says wide access. So if you post anything normal into marketing, it's just going to go into the normal document library. If you want to make it accessible to everybody else, you're then going to stick it into wide access. So we've made that document library, and then we're obviously going to go and then change the permissions of that document library. So we come back out, we come to wide access, settings, where are we? Permissions. And then we inherit permissions from marketing, which is the whole site. We don't want to manage the parent now. We just want to stop inheriting permissions from the whole site. It says you're about to create unique permissions, which is what we want to do. And then it's still going to pick up the marketing members own as visitors. So anyone that you add to the marketing team will automatically get access. But we want to grant permissions to sales members, supply members, and the senior management team. Everything in this folder, even items with unique permissions, is going to be shared. You can change options so that people don't get an email or do. There's no one else in these teams right now, so it doesn't really matter for us. And we're going to share. And so now we know that everyone has got access to this specific document library. Everyone knows that it's wide access because we marked it as so, and obviously we're going to include it in our training. And then we just need to go back through, and in every channel, in every team, we need to go through into the Files tab and add that cloud storage, not to marketing documents, which is the first one that we did, an example that won't work, but to the wide access document library that we just made. So now we've got that wide access. This one won't work unless you're already a member of marketing. This one was changed to permissions so that anyone can see it from all the other teams. So we can actually go and get ahead and get rid of that one now. And if you delete a link, add cloud storage folder, it doesn't actually delete the folder, it just deletes the link to it. So that's one way you can manage all the wide access files. If you want to manage rolling up information that you need to be visible, but you want some confidentiality in it as well, that's how you can use some Excel functions that you might not know about to help you both collaborate on getting that information up, but then there might be some other confidential information you want to add into it, and how to manage who can see it and who can't. Okay, so if we come into the supply team, we're just going to start a new workbook, which might be, I don't know, opportunities list. So we're going to create a new template, and then we're going to replicate that template across another team, and then we're going to get that rolled up into the senior management team where they can add some other confidential information. So if we just pop that out into the desktop app, Then we just want to make a quick table. So we might have ID, maybe. We might have opportunity description, and then we might have value, maybe. So let's say it's ID 1, it's test opportunity, and it's $1,000. Say ID 2 is, I don't know, build more stuff, and that's $10,000. So we just want to make sure that's a table. So we can either hit Control T or go to Insert and Table. Make sure it's got headers, because we've got headers. Click OK, and it makes it a nice little coloured thing there, and we can change what the table's going to look like up there. So then the benefit of having it as table is it's easier then to pull through into other places. Microsoft Excel knows that it's a table, and then if you add anything underneath the table, it's going to extend the table for us, so you don't need to worry about different ranges and extending stuff. If it's a table, it's a lot easier to pull in different places. So we've got an opportunities list in supply now. If we save that, and we will just move it there. If we come back into Teams, we want to go, and then that's a template we want to use and replicate. We are going to then copy that into marketing. So we stick it in marketing in general, we will copy it there. So let's just rename that quickly. Probably wouldn't have this in real life because you wouldn't have the same thing open, because we want different people changing it. So then if we open that in Excel, so we've then got supply chain, which hasn't got anything on it, and the marketing one, which has got a name on it. So then they might have the same IDs even, say. So then we want some marketing activity 1, which we think is actually going to be loads of money, and new product launch maybe. Maybe that's $5,000. Small product. So whatever your business process is and whatever you need to collate, you might be doing that in Excel, in lists, and you might want to roll that up. So in this example, we want everyone in marketing team to collaborate and have access and keep this file live about what the latest opportunities are in marketing. In this list, we want everyone in supply to think up the opportunities, and it might be changed to the production line or open in the factory or whatever. Everyone in this list is in supply. Everyone in this list is marketing. We don't really need each other to see. We don't need each team to see each other's ones. And actually, there might be some confidentiality. We don't want people further down the line seeing marketing activity because of forward-looking financial statements and stuff like that. So, so you might want to keep those separate. But for the senior management, they need a view, one, of both of these things rolled together so they can see all of the opportunities across the business, and 2, they might have their own confidential list that they don't want anyone beneath them seeing. So what we're going to do is copy then this template into the senior management team. And it's in this file that we're then going to use to roll everything up. So we'll just quickly rename it. And we're going to open this one in proper version of Excel. Here we go. And so we then might have changed this to confidential list, say. So then we've got secret squirrel, and that's some big bucks now. and I don't know, new business acquisition that you definitely don't want anyone finding out about beneath you. So we've then got our own list. So then we've got 3 lists. So we've got one for marketing, one supply, and one that no one else can see. But we want to see, senior management want to see both of these lists rolled up, and then they also want their own little list added as well. So how we can do that is we go data and get data, launch PowerQuery editor. It's quite daunting if you're new and you've never used it, but hopefully this example you can do some really powerful stuff just stepping through and just following the steps, and it's actually quite easy once you get your head around what it's doing, and if you set it up in this way with tables. So as long as the person that needs to roll up all this information has got access to each team, and that's why we say in our advice that you want to turn off team mentions so that they can have access to it, but they're not actually going to really be part of the team. So it might be just one person that's doing the admin in the senior management team might need access to all these teams to do this roll up, as long as the person's got access. So we're going to do a new web query. We are going to go and get the supply one first, and we're going to jump out into SharePoint and get the link to this file. So if we click share and do people with existing access, apply, copy link, and copy, make sure it's copied, and then come back into our PowerQuery editor and paste the URL in there. So to make it work with an online file, we need to get rid of all this bump at the end, which if anyone knows how to get a link without all of that in, let me know in the comments, that'd be really helpful. And then for some reason it always puts X and R after your main SharePoint domain, and we need to get rid of both of those as well. So it's just got your domain name.com, whatever your company name is, then it's /sites, and then it should end in XLSX or whatever the Excel format is you've got. So then if we click OK, it should then know that it is a Excel file. Probably want to use an organizational account to sign in. And connect. And then because we've got it as a table now, we can just pick that table, and it's only going to pull in the data that we've got in that table, which is great. So that is just literally just pulling in that table that we've got from supply, and we can call that even supply so we know which one that query is. We then need to do the same thing with the marketing one. So we need to come back into Teams. Whoops. Come back into Teams, go to marketing. I'm just going to show you why we didn't get the link directly from Teams. So if we come and copy link from Teams, we end up with quite a weird link if we get the Teams link. And if we get the SharePoint link, it's got all the sort of layout and doc ASPX in there and lots of random things. It's not really an actual link to the file. And if we put that into, well, actually, let's try it. Let's copy that into PowerQuery. It says it's unable to connect. So that's why we jump out into the SharePoint view to get the link. So then now we're in the marketing team, looking at the same file, share that file, do existing access, copy link, and then go back into PowerQuery. New web query, paste your link in there, get rid of the bump, so it ends in XLSX, and get rid of your X and R. Okay, pick table again. Call that marketing. And then, so now we've got two tables it's pulling in. If we just left it that and clicked close and load, it'll just pull both of those in as separate tables, which might be fine if you just want to see them separately. We're just going to create a new, we're going to select both of these and do append queries, which append is putting one after the other. And we're going to append as queries as new, just so we keep them separately. We can always get back to the base data. Two tables, supply and marketing. If you had three or more, just click that option and pick them all. Need some data privacy stuff, so probably going to be organizational, I would say. Save. And then we get this extra one, append one, which we'll call combined opportunities in this example. And then we've got all of them further down. Because we've got the same IDs, obviously you could either put that in your template to start with so that they've got some sort of prefix with an Excel formula, or you can do that in some more advanced PowerQuery stuff to append some, sorry, to not append, we've just done append, to change the, what some sort of column and then the number to make it so that ID was unique to marketing. So it might be M1, M2 for marketing and S1, S2 for supply. That's fairly easy, but we won't go through that right now. So now we've got the combined opportunities list. And now if we do close and load, we'll just do close and load 2, just so it doesn't create loads of different tables for us. We are just going to create the connection for now. And you can just click close and load, it'll load them all as separate tabs. I just didn't want all the different things going in. So we're going to come to combined opportunities in our query to connections, and we're going to load to this new sheet that we've just done, and we're going to stick it there and then call this sheet combined. Okay, so now we've got all the lists from sales and supply. If we want to add on our confidential stuff, we've now got that in a list, and we know that's in a table, and then it's as easy as just adding another data source. So we can come in to the confidential list, secret squirrel stuff, go to data and say from table. It's going to pick up the data from there, and then we can call that confidential. And then we would just want to append that again to the combined opportunities one. So we can come back into our source, say 3 tables or more, and we can just add confidential onto there. Click OK. You've got another thing about data privacy, which we just need to make organizational. And then close and load, save. And then when it refreshes, it's pulled in our combined list because we didn't do so it's pulled in sheet 2 because it's loading the list we've already got, which we don't want to see again, so we can just delete that. And then in our combined list, it's got everything in, which we can then use to pivot or make other reports or dashboards or graphs or anything once we've got all the data in there. And so then if anyone ever went through and added something, new plant for 9999, or in the, let's get rid of that blank row, or maybe in the marketing one that they then added new product development 3 for 600,000, 60,000 even. Like I say, as long as someone that's clicking refresh has got access to these, anyone can see it, it's just a refresh. So then all you need to do then to pull through anything new is come into your senior opportunities list, into data, and refresh all. You can see it's running in the background, or it might still be running down here, and then after a bit it just pulls everything through into this list Not sure we, I think that one's still saving whilst we did it, so click refresh again, and then it pulls through everything through into your main list, which you can then use to do anything else. So a bit of a long one to go through all of the last steps, but hopefully that was useful if you needed it. Remember to give the video a like if you liked it. Give us a comment if you want any other questions answered. Hit the download button to get access to all of our slides, and they go along with our training on YouTube. Or click book a call if you want some other help unlocking all the benefits of automation and Microsoft 365 using Teams as the start. So thanks for watching so far, and we'll see you in the next video.